This episode has been brought to you by CompleteNutra.com, Whole Family Nutrition. Welcome to the Healthy and Family Show. Each episode features interviews with doctors, experts, and real moms revealing their secrets on how to keep you and your whole family holistically healthy. Your host is David A. Stone, award-winning movie producer, Amazon best-selling author, certified moringa grower, and founder of CompleteNutra.com, Whole Family Nutrition, which is committed to providing the highest quality, science-backed, non-GMO, all-natural nutritional supplements to keep your whole family healthy. Here's David.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is David A. Stone, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Healthy and Family Show. If you're watching this show, that means that you believe the health and wellness of your family should be top priority, but maybe you're a little bit confused with all the conflicting health advice out there. So our goal with this show is to introduce you to the doctors, experts, and real moms who have the secrets and tips that you can use to keep yourself and your whole family holistically healthy. Today, I'm really excited about our show because I'm getting some excellent, cool guests from all over the place and all different expertises in life. So today I'm interviewing Jenny Winton. She is a professional ballet dancer in Aspen. She's living almost a dream life, but here's the cool thing. The thing that we discuss in this episode is the dream that other people are living is not always what you expect it to be. And so I'm really excited so you can hear from a professional ballet dancer what that even looks like. What does that mean to be a professional ballet dancer? How does someone become a professional ballet dancer? And the thing we really get into is holistic health. How does actual dancing help your health? And there's a lot of studies that are really beneficial in talking about how dancing helps us live longer. And there's many reasons for this, but I'm really excited to get into today's episode. And before I do, I want to talk a little bit about CompleteNutra.com. There is a product called Complete Joint Health at CompleteNutra.com. This is a extremely proven product that helps everybody with their joints. It helps humans in general. And there's a lot of studies that have been done because the ingredients within here are why. Glucosamine and chondroitin are proven. They've been proven for many, many years, and a lot of people take them to help their cartilage rebuild, help their joints feel better and feel a little bit more lubricated, but also build. Now, here's the cool thing. This is complete joint health for many reasons, but one of the reasons is because we have some additional ingredients that not only lower your whole inflammation in your body, but also provide some additional antioxidants that can go throughout your bloodstream and fight free radicals better. So one of those ingredients is Boswellia extract. Boswellia is also known as frankincense. Awesome ingredient, very powerful anti-inflammatory. So that is one of the reasons that this is complete. Another reason is because we have turmeric. And you know how amazing turmeric is. Four anti-inflammatories for our joints. Now this has some additional ingredients, and I would also recommend having complete turmeric as well with the complete joint formula. I got it right back there. So if you add complete turmeric and complete joint formula, it's gonna do wonders for all of your body and help reduce inflammation everywhere. Go to CompleteNutra.com, especially if you're active, if you're dancing a lot, if you're hiking a lot, if you're walking around a lot or running a lot or working out a lot. Our bodies are meant to do this kind of work, but we should be giving our bodies the building blocks that it needs so we can recharge, so we can rebuild, so we can keep doing this stuff so we don't get stopped. So these are building blocks for your joints and your joint health. So go to CompleteNutra.com, load up your cart with all the incredible formulas we have on the site, including complete joint health and complete turmeric. And then at checkout, there's a discount box. And what I want you to do is enter Jenny20 to support our guest and support your health today. You're gonna get 20% off your entire order at CompleteNutra.com just for entering code Jenny20 at checkout. So I hope you guys enjoy and really like this product when you try it. I do take it every single day, and it makes me feel really good, especially because I've been walking a lot and my body needs some time and some building blocks to heal. So I take both turmeric and complete joint formula every single day. So thank you guys so much for watching this show. And I'm really excited to introduce Jenny, the professional ballet dancer. you are a professional ballet dancer. So kind of talk about what you do professionally, and then maybe how you became a professional dancer.
Sure. I'm a full-time professional ballet dancer. I currently dance for Aspen SantaFe Ballet, which is a ballet company, a contemporary ballet company located in Aspen. And basically, like any full-time job, I work from about 9 to 5. And we do series of weeks of rehearsals where we put together works that are developed on us, dances, and we perform these dances in theaters all over the world, basically. So We're kind of like a, touring concert company where we go from theater to theater and do shows for live audiences.
How long have you been doing that?
Professionally for about 12 years.
Wow.
But I mean, in order to get to the level and the possibility to do this professionally, you have to train basically from when you're a really small child, up through, your whole youth, to even have the opportunity and the option to go into this direction. So I've been dancing and performing. I started dancing ballet when I was 6.
Wow.
And have been pretty much performing since I was 6 as well. My first performance was in the Nutcracker with the San Francisco Ballet School, or the San Francisco Ballet, actually. They would use kids from the school. So that was my first experience on stage. I fell in love with it. I was actually really bored with ballet itself, and it wasn't until I was brought onto the stage and experienced theater that I really realized the potential of this art.
Coupling it with storytelling.
Yeah.
Dancing with storytelling. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you immediately that's pretty rare. You immediately at 6 years old figured out what you wanted to do. That's kind of
I mean, I just was so attracted to it. I didn't even really think that it was, I wasn't thinking that I wanted to do this as my career. I wasn't thinking about my career. I was
You just
6,
loved it.
But I just loved it. I just loved putting makeup on and going on stage and playing a part, and the ballet thing was just kind of the afterthought. I just love performing so much. So that was the thing that just centered me in that. So I just, worked super hard, and eventually, by the age of 12, I started loving the actual dancing of it. And that opened a whole new door for me, because it teaches you so much discipline and so much articulation with your body. It's I can't imagine my life without it. I feel like I would be a completely different person. So
I guess let's talk to the kids real quick. When you were young, did you have opposition, or did you have did you have a lot of support to do this, or was there things you had to push through?
I mean, I was really lucky because my parents were super supportive. They're the ones who put me in it, and they definitely encouraged me to go forward with it. It is hard because you do have to sacrifice some aspects of being a normal kid, because, you can't just go over to your friend's house after school. You have training, and I ended up, actually for high school doing a kind of independent kind of high school. It was, I went to the actual school a couple times a week, but most of my work was done, on my own. So I didn't get that normal high school experience that most kids get. I didn't get a prom,
Oh, wow.
that kind of stuff. So
it's kind of young actors that start when they're kids, or really any sports athlete. Yeah, you're right.
It's true. So there is sacrifice involved. So, you got to know that going into it if you want to do it, for real, it's perfectly fine if you want to do it, just for fun a couple times a week. But like, in order to do it professionally, you got to put in a lot more hours than that.
Right.
So.
It's like the 10,000 hour rule, but if you start at 6 years old, you can get 10,000 hours in
really early.
Pretty early.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
That's amazing. So, the one thing I'm realizing about dance, and I like to move my body. I don't know how to do any kind of move type things, but like choreograph stuff. But I have been researching the health benefits of dancing, and they're like numerous. Because when we're dancing, we're moving our bodies, getting our joints going. And what are some of the biggest like health benefits that you notice from dancing?
Well, to me, I feel like dancing is the only thing that really integrates it's very intellectual, because you're not just working out in a gym. You're not just like pumping iron or running on a treadmill. Like, you're using your brain to put combinations together to activate certain muscles, to be coordinated with the musicality of the steps. So it's like so many things are happening at once. And I feel like you can't get that through any other form of exercise. It's just all encompassing, and like, it does put you in that kind of like that focused, like Zen place when it can be meditative for a lot of people. And not in the like, I'm falling asleep meditative way, but like the like super, super engaged meditative way.
Like the zone.
Yeah, for sure. So that's
wow, how cool.
Like very addicting, and I think that's what gets a lot of people as well.
Yeah, I could see that. There's so many elements all coming together, especially when you're doing it at a professional level. I mean, you have to practice. I mean, how often? Like, what's your when you're performing and when you're in your zone? What is your daily routine look like? How do you practice?
Well, it depends on if we're in a performance week, we always start class before rehearsal. So we do an hour and a half of basically technique class. And if we're in a performance week, we will start that later, because we have a really long day ahead of us, obviously, because we're performing, and we'll be dancing late. So we'll start that class around 11:30. We do ballet class for an hour and a half. And that consists of bar and center. So we do exercises at the bar, then we move into center, and dance in the center of the space. And then we usually will do a tech rehearsal. So that's a rehearsal with all the lights and all the, our team. We have a tech team who, does the, lifts the curtain up, brings it down, gets the music involved, and does all the light stuff.
That's a full run through your tech.
It's a full, yeah. We usually space it first so that we're not full blown dancing in a space that we haven't worked out yet. So we'll space the whole thing. And, if it's a performance, if it's a show we've done a million times, we're not even really required to run through it full. Like, they call it Italian style. It's like when we just run through the show without actually doing it.
Like a quick blocking.
Yeah, quick blocking, and then like just running through. But if it's something like that, we haven't done a lot, or if it's a theater that we're not familiar with, we'll usually do a full run through before the show in the evening.
How long are your shows?
Shows are usually like 2 hours, around 2 hours. Yeah. And it's
wow.
We're a company of 11 dancers, so pretty much everyone's involved most of the time. We're pretty much in every show and every piece. Maybe one or two of us will get a piece off a specific evening, but we're pretty much dancing the entire time.
Do you have like one role or do you play multiple roles because there's so many people?
we play everything. So it's like, since there's 11 of us, we usually do about 3 pieces per evening, unless it's a full length ballet, and then we just do that full length. But each piece can require from 2 people to like 8 people in it. So we have to cover each other as well as our own pieces, because if someone gets sick or injured, like we have to, have each other on rotation. But yeah, we pretty much we're pretty much able to go into anybody else's spot of short notice, just because we got to cover our bases there. But we do different parts.
Yeah, it's like sometimes people don't understand. They see the final product of it, and it seems probably really glamorous, that final product. It's kind of like the end result of a movie, and people are like, I want to do that. And then it's like, but do you? Because the day that you're talking about here, you got an hour and a half practice first, then you do a full run through before the show. What else are you doing that day?
Taking a nap and eating.
And then you do the show. So you basically do the show twice kind of that day almost. Sometimes it's a quick run through, but
it's very often that we feel like we're doing 2 shows, because theater days are very intense days. But
how often are those days? Once a week?
We have seasons, because since we're based in Aspen, there's on season and off season. So on season is summertime and winter time, and off season is fall and spring. So we will have maybe a weekend of shows in the summer in Aspen, and then our residency, our dual residency is in Santa Fe. So maybe the next weekend we'll go to Santa Fe and do that same cluster, 1 weekend of shows. And then in the fall and spring, we're touring a lot. So we'll, fly to LA and do a weekend of shows there, and then maybe do go to Orange County and do some shows there. And we do international shows too. So during those off seasons, we've gone to Biarritz, France, and Israel.
Wow.
We were supposed to go to Germany. We were supposed to go to Germany about a month ago, but can't do that.
Oh yeah.
So
that interrupted everything. Boy.
It did. Yeah, that actually has, the dance community has really, really suffered, and we're, still trying to figure out how to maintain our technique and our strength when we have to be dancing in our living rooms right now, So, and
there's so much of an interaction, I imagine, that you kind of can't dance with others right now.
Well, that's the really tricky part. My company's trying to figure out how, and every dance company right now is trying to figure out how to navigate this new life that we live. We take class together. We're basically touching each other and dancing on each other and breathing and sweating on each other all day. So we just, we can't work right now. It's just not, it's not possible.
Well, right. Sure.
So
social distance a salsa.
No, I know. I know in certain areas of the world and of this country, they're starting to bring, I think students back in very small groups, and they have tape on the floor and they can only dance within the confines of the tape, and it's just very strange. And,
that feels so weird. It's dirty dancing. Don't touch anybody here.
It's just crazy. And so right now mainly there's a lot of virtual training going on. I teach some virtual Zoom classes to the kids in Aspen SantaFe Ballet School, and
cool.
So it is a lot. It's very different, but we're doing what we can to kind of keep going, and because we can't just the world can't exist without art and without
right. It would be so boring if there was no dance or art.
Yeah.
Artists, I feel right now on a lot of levels are kind of feeling like they're getting hit, but dancers, I can totally see what you're saying. Especially, it's a very different situation. Other artists are more a lot of solo solo artists right now could probably really thrive with this extra kind of time and slowing down of things. But when you have a social art, I mean, I guess I didn't even really think about it like that. It definitely disrupts it big time. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is like, even if we're allowed to be in the same room together and, maybe do duets instead of big ballets, we still have to think about, like, is the audience going to be there? Are people going to come to the shows because, they have to all sit in the same room together and like all the seats are right next to each other and, the whole situation wouldn't allow that, at this moment. So we have to, kind of think about that and see how we can kind of change the way that we normally perform, and have people view us. So
yeah, churches went through that right now because everybody goes to church. It's like, so a lot of churches had to like immediately really quickly switch to like live streaming weekly. So maybe these dance studios can, eventually we could kind of get it to like, hey, there's your dance channel, like the live stream of your shows, and it's maybe it can also come into because the audience. It's hard because it's there's something about live art that's so just you can't just reproduce, and it's like the one thing that makes what we do so special is that it's happening right in front of your eyes. And like, obviously right now we're just going to have to adapt, but at the same time, we're like, you know what, we're not ready to give up live art. Like it has to happen at some point. So we're just kind of like, we're not losing dance. Like humanity can't lose dance. Yeah. No, it's something that is necessary for a lot of people. And, hopefully with the virtual, broadcasting of dance, people who haven't been exposed to it yet, like who hadn't, seen live dance will be exposed in a way. And like when everything does open up, they'll be inspired to go see a live show. Mm-hmm. So I think it's, dancing is kind of becoming very like 15-second, like these things with was it TikTok or whatever? It's like very commercial, very like and I mean that's like a whole different, there's commercial dancing and like that's what people are used to. I think is the dancing scene on TV, and that has its own like great aspects to it. But the classical dance, the ballet, the contemporary ballet, there's a lot talent, and you can really tell it's like, and so ballet is specific to classical music, right? Is that right, or is that not right? No, not necessarily. Look into any ballet class that's online or whatever. It always has a piano accompaniment of classical melodies and very very balletic classical music. But I mean, the company I work for now we're classically based, but it's a contemporary company. So we do a lot of like really interesting works, and the music can be like, it can range from like rap music to any kind of electronic music. Oh, cool. That's pretty sweet. So it's like, it is moving with the times, and because it's the show, ballet will always. I mean, it depends. Sometimes it's really abstract and there's no actual like visible story unless, it's like concepts. It's like modern art. But there is always like a through line. There's always an idea, and there's usually some pretty good room for interpretation. So that's what keeps it fun. Wow, how cool. Right now, I mean, it's like, what are you doing during this time of a break to kind of stay in gear and stay, are you working out right now, and what's your regimen look like? Yeah, well, I mean, I have to tell you, it's been like the hardest kind of transition because, we had to obviously stop working at the studio, and we didn't really know
how long we were going to be away for. So usually when I have a break, like we usually have about 2 months off a year, broken up. So I'll take 3 weeks off, get my body, back together. 'Cause you have to give it a break when you're working super hard.
Yeah.
But, not knowing like how long you're going to have to be training this way, it was really hard to gauge. So, I took a little bit of time off in the beginning. I was dealing with this like foot thing. So I, rested that. But days and then weeks go by and you're like, I really got to get back into things because my body is just like, feels weird. Like it just doesn't feel good when you're out of shape and you're missing that routine. So,
but it happens fairly quickly.
It happens
if you're
really
working
fast.
out, if you're normally in a schedule where you're like training every day almost.
Yeah. No, it's like I've had to become very creative. So, classes started being offered online virtually with dance teachers from all over. So that was kind of cool that I got to tap into classes with people that I would normally not get to, learn
That's
from.
pretty cool.
Is pretty cool. The challenges are obviously the floor surfaces that you're dancing on because, we basically are like our feet are like a dog's nose. Like it's just like everything we can like feel every little different movement. And, if the surface is like too slippery, too sticky, uneven, if it's too hard, if it's too soft, like it just throws everything off. So, I've been trying, okay, well, maybe today I'm going to see how the outdoor patio is in terms of my tendus and plies, or the bathroom, because the bathroom is a little more like smooth. Or, I'm going to put a yoga mat in the living room or the kitchen. Could it give me a little bit more of like a comfort, like a little more bounce? 'Cause we're actually,
you
at
never
the
think
end,
about that. The studios are built for
the studios
you.
are built. They're like, the floors are actually sprung. So, most of the time. So it's
That's
like
gotta
a
feel
layer
pretty
of this.
cool.
It feels pretty, it's like, it feels pretty great, but we are like doing crazy jumps off of it.
That's the other thing, because it's probably to help you have more shocks, because like if you're really doing these probably intense moves, your body would probably get injured quicker if you didn't have that kind of a floor all the time.
Right. And which is why, like in the beginning of this, I really kind of like, I wasn't doing as much ballet, and I was doing, like yoga. I was, I'm a certified Pilates instructor. So I was doing a lot of Pilates. I got really into road biking. So I was doing other things because I knew like if I was pounding my body every single day on these surfaces, like I was going to get hurt. So, eventually I kind of was like, well, I really do need to get back into like a consistent class. So I've just been, creative with that. And, I'll jump in my tennis shoes instead of jumping in a ballet shoe just to give myself a little more cushion. And it actually does teach you to work a lot smarter instead of harder. So you're really like, okay, well, this surface and the space isn't ideal. So that means I'm going to like really work on my port de bras, or I'm going to really work on my plie and my landing versus my actual jump. So it is like, it's challenging and helpful in that way that it makes you work in a different way.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Like you're able to focus on something and just dial that in. I remember it was Bruce Lee said that he would take one of his like karate moves or whatever he did, but he would do it super slow-mo for like probably thousands of times. I don't remember the exact number, but just a stupid amount of times. And then he would start speeding it up, and then when he got to that full speed, it was like lightning, but he was doing the entire move. You got to start with a lot of this repetition, so it might be helpful to kind of almost shake up the routine if you can adapt and then start focusing on all those little things to really maybe dial in some of those.
And totally. It's been a great opportunity to like go back to the basics with everything, to just, like be a minimalist, but like you're a clean, obviously when you're a minimalist, things are like better organized and cleaner. So it's like making your body more organized and cleaner.
Yeah, like getting rid of all the junk and focusing on the things that matter.
The unnecessary things.
Yeah.
So.
CompleteNutra.com. Whole family nutrition.
Hi, Dr. Jessie Keener here. We're going to talk about a formula that I have a real special affinity for. It's called Complete Joint Health. Now, if you're young, 20, 25, you're probably not worried about your joints yet. But if you're a mom and a dad, you're already worrying about your joints because you've noticed from picking up toddlers over and over that your back, your neck, your knee, your shoulder. If you're a former athlete or a current athlete, you are definitely concerned about your joints. There is nothing worse than a joint problem taking you out of your game or taking out of the rhythm of your daily exercise. We all know how important exercise is for overall health. And if you're gimped up, you're out, you're lame, you can't do it, you're going to see your body breaking down pretty quickly from the lack of exercise. This product has natural anti-inflammatories in it in case you already have the injury, like boswellia and bromelain, which are natural inflammatories, safe, even at higher doses. It has MSM, which is sort of the king of joint foods. It also has glucosamine conjointin, which is also a joint enhancer. So you can actually rebuild joints. You can take inflammation out of joints. You can support the healing of an injured joint and surrounding tissue with this product, Complete Joint. I recommend it heartily because you want to stay active to the very end of your life. Moms, dads, grandmoms, granddads, you need this product.
Yeah, I think
So
this whole thing
good.
was a big pattern interrupt, and I think we can look at it in a lot of different ways. But sometimes it's good to shake things up a little bit because I think a lot of us were in these repetitive patterns that were just like, even when we're doing something that we love, and I don't know if maybe you could speak on this, but when you're in your zone, you're doing something you love, sometimes it can actually still turn into like, and you got to kind of like figure out a way to shake it up. Do you ever experience that?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I feel like a really important thing to humans is to actually be learning new skills all the time. So if you get too much in a routine, like you can actually turn your brain off and not even realize that you're doing it. You know, it's just like you get into this like mindless practice and like it's you know, it's not always good.
I can see, for sure.
So, I mean, this was definitely an opportunity to like switch things up and to maybe focus on parts of my life that I don't usually get to.
That's true too, because you're a professional dancer. You're working a lot. Your work is what you're passionate about. But I mean, it's like if I go shoot a movie in another country, it's not like I'm going out there on vacation. Like I'm working every day, and but. It's a pretty exciting life, but there are probably certain things that kind of deprioritized that right now you can maybe bring up into priority.
Yeah, I mean, it's super true. Like we're in the studio all day. So I'm like never at my computer. Now I spend a lot of time at my computer, and I was really, shy about technology because I just didn't really spend too much time with it. And like, I'm kind of learning that there's all these things that you can do like through Photoshop and like websites and stuff like that. So that's been kind of fun to play with and like kind of, develop my, myself that way. And, like there's, all these other activities that you can do to keep your body strong that I, wasn't doing because I was in the studio all day. Like biking is really fun. I realized I just got really into the road biking, got like all the gear and like just
awesome.
It's a way for me an excuse for me to get outside without, breaking the rules. And,
yeah, I mean,
and
you can go fast. You can get some speed under there, and like
get the cardio. It's really the only thing that gets me cardio these days. So, and then baking. Everyone's baking bread. My boyfriend and I love to bake sourdough bread. So that's also what we've been doing, and it's super fun just to add these little routines in that are kind of new. It's like you develop a new routine and then you add it in and like do it for a little while until you get bored, and then you switch it up and change it, do something else.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the artist life. I kind of live that way a little bit. Pretty much mostly. But not dancing. I mean, that's the cool thing. The one thing about dancing, though, no, you're doing it professionally, but the one thing about dancing is pretty much everybody can do it. Like, we can all dance, and we all should dance when it's appropriate, which is most of the time. Dancing makes every situation better.
I can't think of an inappropriate time to dance. Maybe there's like one or two, but like.
Well, the inappropriate times to dance are probably the best times to dance.
Yeah, you're actually probably right.
You're not supposed to dance here, sir. What?
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I can't think of one. I really can't.
Yeah.
Dancing is just like, I feel like it's such a natural thing, and it's such a cultural thing. Like there's every culture has their own kind of dancing, and
that's true.
Yeah.
When you get into it, you're right. It's like when you really get into each cultural dance. Now, how many do you know? A whole bunch of different kinds of dances.
Like different cultural dances.
I guess I don't know what I'm saying.
Styles of dancing.
There like ballet's one style, and I guess modern or contemporary ballet is probably another style also.
Yeah, kinda. I mean, from when I was little, it was like ballet was everything. But then as I got older, I started doing more contemporary work. I actually halfway through my career, I was offered the role of Penny on the national tour of Dirty Dancing. So
awesome.
I transitioned from like strict classical ballet to like salsa and like Latin dance, and that was so fun. Like
That'll
it was
mix
just
it up.
a whole new it was like a whole new world just like opened up, and like just like using Latin dance is like all about a specific rhythm and like using your hips, and it was a whole new vocabulary for me. And I think integrating the strict ballet training with the more loose like Latin movement, me become like a pretty good contemporary mover. So I think it was actually like really one of the best things for me was to like get out of my comfort zone and do something completely different.
Awesome. Like leveled you up.
Oh yeah, it just like it changes everything.
Did you find it was like almost kind of intuitive to learn a new style after you already knew ballet?
I mean, ballet is really hard. So I feel like after you do ballet, it's like everything else is a little easier.
Yeah, right.
I guess the hardest part about it for me was letting go of my ballet technique. Not completely, but like just, you have to release the tension that you build a lot in classical dance, like, the footwork and the placement of the hips and, the stacking of the body in order to get grounded and get looser in the Latin movement. So I feel like, letting go of some of what was correct in ballet was super, super challenging, but also, rewarding and really fun.
It's like you can break the rules when you learn the rules. Once you learn the rules, you can learn how to break them.
That's actually a very good way to put it. Like, you learn the rules, you like make them, so refined and so concrete. You understand the rules so well that like now it's time to break the rules.
Exactly. That's awesome. And the other cool thing you mentioned before was the mental game of it. And actually, there are studies. I don't know where the studies are, but I know if we Googled it, we'd find them of the mental cognitive benefit of dancing. Like they even say it's good for Alzheimer's patients and people that are starting to kind of experience any brain like neurological disorder, because dancing incorporates every muscle that you even forgot you had type thing, and then maybe it even brings up memories, and the music can. So, anyways, but the whole like learning actual dances does stimulate our brain.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I can tell the difference. Like if I haven't, done a new work in a while, like my brain isn't as on it, versus like when I've just been working with a new choreographer or, learning dances. We learn dances off of videos a lot because, often there's not the opportunity to work with the actual person. You have to take what was done and learn it that way. And, obviously learning off of video is it is a different technique because since it's a camera, you kind of have to flip the image in your mind to get like the right and the left correct, because you see the video and the left side of the screen is actually the right side of your body. So it's this
yeah, right. You got to flip it. Like you got to learn how to flip it.
So it's like, it's dual. It's like extra tricky if you're not used to that. But yeah, there's a definite, like, I feel like it's like 90% mental. Ballet is like 90% mental.
Wow. 90.
Yeah, I feel like it's 90.
Yeah, it's got to be a mental game. If you're saying that, you're a professional, so I can only imagine.
Yeah, I mean, it's, through, in terms of longevity of like what I've had to done to apply myself, I feel like it's more mental than physical. It's because, you can get yourself physically to a point with just like your mental dexterity. Like it's so important to be like, to have will and to be intelligent and to be just, very, very detail oriented is
and able
all
to
very
adapt.
important. Yes.
Very
and
adaptable.
able to adapt is very important. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I feel like that's just the most important skill in life in general, is just no matter what you're doing, just know how to adapt and you'll be okay.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think that if we can learn to adapt better, we can actually almost have a superpower because we can handle really any situation that we're in.
Right.
And I think you've been trained as an athlete, so you've been trained to really like deliver, like always be, I don't know, perfect maybe, so it's like, there a mental, is there like, do you ever struggle with self-talk? I mean, how does your mental game?
Oh, for sure. I feel like that is a slippery slope and a really something that ballerinas especially like struggle with is that,
I can see that.
Achieving perfection. Because first of all, I mean, it's a super hard skill to develop, and you're always striving for perfection, but everybody knows that perfection doesn't exist. So it's this constant striving for something that you can't actually achieve. But what you're achieving is really awesome. And like, you should enjoy that. So it's oftentimes, we'll get so caught up with how we want things to be that we're not appreciating what we've actually achieved. So that can be a downfall of our perfectionism, but it's also, that's why we've gotten there. And that's why we're so good, is because we're always, asking ourselves for more. So it's just a balance. It's just, pushing yourself and being hard on yourself when you need to be, and then like giving yourself a break too.
Yeah, you're right. Because I mean, in order to achieve great things, like there is a sense of high standards, excellence, like delivering. It's not like, it's okay, it's good enough. Like, no, coach isn't going to let you be, it's good enough. Like, this is what we need. You're not like, if you're a singer, if you're, I think a lot of times people in the physical arts, so even like models or actors or all this stuff, there's this image and this weird, in the entertainment industry, this kind of almost weird cloud of like, you have to be perfect if you want to be this, because there's a whole bunch of other people that want your job. And like, so there's almost this form of like undertow of manipulation to say, you better stay perfect or else we're going to get someone else. Do you ever experience that too in the world of? entertainment?
Like in terms of body image and things like that?
I mean, just kind of like, I sometimes just feel like this undertow that we're just required to be perfect. But you actually, in one sense, are, because it's your job.
Right.
Like, you're a professional. You have to deliver at like excellent levels like every time. Like, you can't just be, you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, no, I get what you're saying. And it's true. And I think the secret to all this thing is like, well, what is perfect? Perfect is me at my like best performance level. And like when people see me at my best, they're going to see the perfection that can be achieved that they didn't know existed. Like, it's just, I feel like perfect it's not real, but there's each person has their shade of perfect, and it's so many different things put together, and maybe it's imperfections like involving themselves in it too. Like, you know, every dancer has their own personality when they dance, and that's, you know, filled with imperfections that come out as, you know, I don't know, maybe like a softness or a hardness or whatever, just a personality.
That's what makes people special. I mean, those little, those extra pieces.
Yeah. So, and yeah, sometimes it's like this, you know, you're so focused on being perfect that you're actually diminishing what makes you super, super interesting. So I always try and, you know, not focus so much on the perfection, but like just the highest level that I can get. So that it's alive and it's real versus like this, like stamped, you know, already pre-qualified perfection.
Yeah. Good
that's
point.
Not real. So.
Yeah. That makes total sense. You know, and the other thing I'm hearing is that I think a lot of people give trying to achieve excellence. They try to say, just nobody's perfect. So it's like they're not actually going to try to strive for it. So there's a very few people that actually strive for perfection. But when you strive for perfection, you do hit excellence a lot.
Right.
You know, as long as we can keep our mind to where we're not mean to ourselves if we're not perfect. You know, we have to be nice to ourselves if we're not. You know what I mean, too?
Yeah, and that is something that does get lost sometimes. And, you know, I've seen so many friends and colleagues, like, growing up who you know, would get super, super down on themselves or, like, really stuck in the body image thing with ballet. And, like, it's something that it can totally ruin it for you. Like, they just end up quitting something that they worked really hard for and loved so much, but it's just like, you know, the negativity of it got to them and they don't, you know, they had to stop pursuing it. So I think it's
especially if it's in your tight knit group, if people are being too critical, or how is your like community of the people you dance with? Are people really uplifting and helping each other out? Is it that kind of an environment?
The environment I'm in now is very uplifting. Like, we're just, we're such a small group that we really need each other. You know, there's really not any competition, like no evil competition for
That's
sure.
Awesome.
You know,
that's
because
nice.
It's because we're a family because we're 10 or 11 people and we travel together. We, you know, support each other and you know, I've got some great bosses and they really try to cultivate like a supportive environment.
Awesome.
But you know, in general, the ballet environment can be pretty vicious, especially
and
like
brutal.
You know, brutal. Like growing up, you know, you are competing constantly with your colleagues because you know, to get a job in this industry is very difficult. So, and you're basically, when you're hired into a dance company, usually it's like on a contract for a year basis, usually, unless you're a freelance dancer and then you just do projects. But yeah, so it's like every year you're reevaluated. And it's like, you know, I remember in other companies I was in, like dancers would get fired for ridiculous things. Like, you know, oh, you got injured this year and like, we don't know if you can handle next season, so we're going to let you go. Or like, you put on too much weight, or, you know, it's just like, and these are individuals who like just are so hardworking and talented and special, and like would just be so much more appreciated in like any other industry you would think. But like just ballet dynamics sometimes and in specific places can be so hardcore that the competition is just like insane.
This is why one of the big lessons in life in the entertainment industry is not letting anybody else tell you who you are. Learning that lesson.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because I mean, if you have a strong sense of who you are and like what you're capable of, like that's going to show. And people will try, especially like manipulative, like, you know, people who like to make other people feel bad about themselves. They're going to look for the weakness of people who are not self-assured and who are seeking approval. And if you're someone who's truly confident, like they're not going to be able to get to you. Right. And so they'll leave you alone.
Yeah, exactly. Right. When you stand up to the bully doesn't want to mess with you anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So
what are a few, I don't know, maybe inspirational mentors or books that maybe, I don't know, I guess they don't have to be about dancing, just like some of your favorite either mentors or books or things to learn about?
Let's see. I mean, I looked up to a lot of because I grew up in San Francisco, training at the San Francisco Ballet School. So I looked up to a lot of
Wow, that's a huge school, right?
Yeah, it's huge. It's massive.
How cool.
Yeah, it was cool. It was great. And I got to see, since the company is attached to the school, I, was early on exposed to one of the best companies, in the world. So wow. I was watching, principal dancers at the very top level. And there are a few of those principals I really looked up to. And, I don't know if names will ring a bell for anybody, but like Sarah Van Patten had this very, very ethereal, very enticing quality to her dancing. Like she always used her eyes so much when she danced. So that was one thing that I always try to do. I always try and be really expressive with my eyes and just use my focus for things. And it kind of creates this magic sometimes if it's done right, if it's,
Oh yeah, I could see
that. And, yeah, and another dancer, Maria Kachakova, this little Russian girl, she just had this amazing work ethic. She trained at the Bolshoi, and she would always work at the studios late. And I was a total bunhead growing up, so I would, spend extra hours in the studio as well. And one day she saw me, and she just she was like, do you want to train together? I can, we can do variations. I can help you. And I was about 17, and she was, principal dancer in the company, and was willing to work with me just because she liked doing it. Didn't even ask for money. It was pretty awesome.
Wow.
So there, a couple of those people really, really inspired me.
Yeah, you had a couple pretty awesome moments, and that you were able to fully learn from.
Yeah, and I mean, I had one ballet teacher, Miss Pascal Leroy, and she was just this beautiful, regal woman from France, and she was really strict, but a total sweetheart at the same time. She was so strict in the studio, but she was the nicest person outside the studio. And I remember I got a really bad knee injury when I was, looking for jobs. Actually, I was 17, and it was the crucial year for me to be getting my jobs. And I wasn't sure if I could do it because I was injured. And she just really took the time to like help me and to like, help me mentally a lot and help me get back and get strong. So
the mental game's the one you get to work on when you get injured.
Yeah, that is like really difficult because it's like your wings are taken away. You're just like, you feel powerless and you don't know, what's going to happen. You don't know if you're ever going to get better or, get to the same level. And it takes a lot of discipline to get back from a bad injury. So, and patience is necessary for that.
Have you had a couple, how many injuries have you had while dancing?
I've actually, knock on wood, but like I've been pretty healthy throughout my whole career.
Awesome.
When I was like 17, I had like a pretty bad knee injury, but it was like nothing had happened. Like I hadn't fallen or had any impact. I think my body was just growing and like my knees are, I have long limbs and long legs and like my kneecaps were like very long and they just like weren't sitting in the grooves right. And so I had to build the muscles around my kneecaps to hold my kneecaps in place, basically. Wow. So I did learn a lot about my body and my structure and muscles and tendons through that.
Yeah, you're very connected to your body, I would imagine, as a dancer, especially ballet. And I think a lot of people, we over time lose touch with our bodies because we do fall into these like monotonous rhythms. But as a dancer, like you can't lose touch with your body.
Yeah, and that's why I can tell so drastically, like when I'm more sedentary and, especially through this, quarantine time, it's like definitely you can't avoid it. Like you're sitting more. And it is like I can feel the change in my body. And so when I start to feel it, I know that that's when it's time to like notch up the training and, do more intense work throughout the day. Because it's like losing your vision or like your sense of smell or your touch. Like it's so important. And when it's not there, you just feel like you're not, something's wrong.
Yeah. I mean, what are they saying right now? A lot of science is saying that the sedentary lifestyle is going to be worse than smoking. Just like sitting there not doing anything.
I believe that. I mean, we used to do much more manual labor, and everything is, done on a computer now, which is great. Like it's great that technology has advanced that far, but it's not good for us physically that we're sitting in a chair all day long. So
yeah, we've isolated everything we do into little pockets instead of like walking for our job while we're working, working and walking or moving and working. It's like, or walking to the place. Because we were talking, it's like, there's literally like no reason for anybody to walk anywhere ever again if you didn't want to.
It's true. It's like, yeah, it's so true. It's like you get in your car and you drive to your office, then you sit in your chair and then you you call Uber Eats to come deliver your lunch and like, then you get back in your car. You could avoid walking for days at a time. No,
there's like funny on like there was, I don't forget who, it was a comedian or something, but he parked on one side of the street in LA and he gets in his car and then he drives around like that to the other bar on the other side of the street and gets out.
Oh my God.
It's like,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah. So what are some of your goals? Like, what are some of the things that you want? You've achieved so much already. I mean, what are you looking forward to over the next few years?
That's a good question. Yeah, it's true. It's like, I mean, our careers are, it takes so much to develop it, and it's a full lifestyle investment. But they are short careers. I'm 30. So, people don't usually dance past late 30s, sometimes 40, that's pushing it. Don't know if I want to be that person who's dancing when they're 40. So there is like a transition period where you start to think, well, what's going to come next, and I feel like I'm lucky in the sense that I have left classical dance and I've come back to it and been able to do that. So I'm aware there are other worlds out there. After I did that Dirty Dancing tour, I moved to New York and did a bunch of freelancing. I did some TV and some theater plays and stuff like that. And so I was kind of, I was aware that there were other directions within the arts that I could go.
Definitely. I mean, you've already done a lot. You have on your resume, you have a lot of acting and like play experience. So, I mean, that doesn't have to stop. I mean, of course,
right.
The professional side of everything is the just never stop inside. That's the side. Like
right.
doing all this stuff professionally, like trying to have it be the career.
Yeah.
So, but you can do that for a lot longer in the play scene because there's characters that are needed, from
exactly.
every age range.
Exactly. It is hard though, because that is, also a very hard thing to pursue, and you're often like living that gypsy life. And
yeah, right.
I don't know if I want to do that forever. There's, definitely a desire to, have a family and, kind of have like a somewhat normal, like secure life. And oftentimes it's like when you're an artist, you're just constantly, you don't know where your next paycheck's coming from sometimes. And, you're just kind of auditioning all the time and, looking for new projects. And that's fun and stimulating. But at the same time, it's like, it's not always sustainable.
Yeah.
So, to develop, some kind of company or some kind of school where there's like, more of an income stream, a consistent income stream would be cool.
Oh, yeah. That's a great idea.
Yeah. So I'm thinking about it and like, kind of learning. I took a couple entrepreneurial courses during quarantine. So I'm kind of like slowly, secretly building some sort of plan, but I don't even really know what it is yet. So
sometimes it's totally okay, and that's the other thing is sometimes I have a tendency to live too far in the future, set my future goals so much and really focus on those that I need to remember to come back here to the present. Because I heard a quote, like, if we're living in the past all the time, we might be experiencing depression. If we're living too far in the future, we might be experiencing anxiety. And so that's why I think anxiety was more of my experience when I'm trying to be so productive, and I kind of valued my life on productivity. And then so on those moments when I needed to relax, my body actually needed to shut down for a second. I felt like I wasn't doing anything, and it was only like a day or two, and then I was hard on myself. So I kind of found myself in this little cycle that I think maybe entrepreneurs and artists, especially when we're like hustling for the next job. I mean, the next paycheck, like the freelance life is what I was living for so long. And it is fun. I mean, that's the cool part about it. There's like, it's exciting and it's a lot of fun, but I really I really felt the need to put down some roots somewhere. Cause it was weird when I was making movies, like, I was so transient. I had apartments. I was just bouncing from apartment to apartment. It didn't really matter where I was going. I like to travel so much. But then when I decided to buy a house, it changed the whole game. I'm like, well, it was so weird. I was like so scared to like put some roots down, but it was cheaper than rent, my loan. So I'm like, why not?
Like, why not?
Yeah. And so it's been the best thing for me though, because it grounded me. And it gave me, and now I have a food forest around my house. I have animals in the backyard. I got ducks, and it's a fun place for me to be.
I think that's so important, like for us to have a place where we can actually call home, to, regardless of how our lifestyle is. Like, I on my tour, I lived out of a suitcase for 2 years, but I had my parents still live in San Francisco. So that was like my home. Like I would go back there when I had a break. So I feel like it's very important to
have a home base,
to have a place. Yeah. Have a home.
Yeah. And then as you get older, it's like, I didn't want that place to be my mom's place anymore. So it was a necessary thing for me to get my own, but
to have your own.
But I don't need it to be much. I don't need much. I needed a little piece of dirt just to ground myself and remind myself that I could handle it. I could handle anything. And the things that I'm afraid of sometimes are the things I need to almost lean into.
Right. That's very often the case. It's very often the case. And it's hard to like put roots down like that because, responsibility is coming with that. But you figure it out and you figure it out.
When we add responsibility onto our plate, we always figure it out. You're right. We always figure it out. No, who's like ready to have a kid? Like I know all these people, it's like whenever people have kids, everybody says this, whoever's had their first kid, they're like, we were not ready. Like nobody's ever ready. Like parents aren't ready.
Right.
It's like, we just got to like lean into those things and just know, I don't know. I lean into the unknown pretty well, but that's just how I live. That's how I've trained myself to live. I just think a lot of times fear and excitement are extremely similar physical reactions. And sometimes we might actually think we're afraid when we might be excited.
Right. I mean, I could like people, my boyfriend could vouch for me and say like, I'm afraid of everything, but like also like really, really attracted to it. Like, I'm like, I don't want to do, I don't want to like go on that bike trail. It's like windy and scary and like, I'm scared and I'm going to fall off my bike and hurt myself, but I'm also like really intrigued and really want to go on it. It's just like,
you'd be bummed if he was like, okay, I'm going alone.
Yeah. I'd be like, no, I'm coming.
Like, no, I'm coming. Exactly.
But, yeah. And I mean, another thing, okay. So this may sound so ridiculous because I'm 30, but I like recently just got my driver's license for the first time because I mean, I've lived in big cities my whole life and toured, so I never had to drive.
Wow.
And like I was super scared to get my driver's license because I was just like so unfamiliar with the act of controlling a vehicle. And but I was also like, this is like I really want to learn how to drive, and I think it's a pretty necessary skill to have.
Yeah, especially in Arizona.
So I was and that's when being here, I was like, okay, it needs to happen right now. I can't even go to CVS.
There's no public transportation here.
No. So I was like really intent on doing it. I just, that was one of the things I did during quarantine is just go get my driver's license.
Wow, just now.
Yeah.
How cool.
Yeah.
So are you driving now?
I need to get like an actual car of my own now. I'm going to like rent one or I've been researching a lot on that recently actually to try and figure out what I want.
Your first car.
I know, my first car.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like I was 16 again.
I know. That's amazing. Yeah. I don't think people in Arizona understand what you're just talking about. They're like, wait, how did that happen? Cause I mean, it's just so spread out here. I've been driving since I was 13.
13. Wow.
Yeah.
So illegal.
Yeah, totally illegal.
Totally illegal.
I was living in the boonies though. We had to haul our water.
So you're driving a like tractor around?
Well, no, it was an Aerostar. It was a 1989 Ford Aerostar with a hitch on it, and it was a stick shift. So I learned how to drive a stick shift when I was 13, and I drove that stick shift and we had to haul water. There was a 500-gallon tank behind the van. I'd take it to the well, fill it up, take it home, and put it in the ground. And then we had 4 of those trips, and we had all the water in the tank filled up, so we had water at the house, 2,000 gallons.
Wow.
Yeah, I was a redneck. But the funny thing about fear was I learned how to drive on a stick shift. And then it was I was turning 16, and I had to get rid of the van, and I had to get some other vehicle that was an automatic. And I was afraid to drive the automatic because I had never done it before. And someone's like, yeah, no, you just pretty much put it in gear and hit the gas. It's like, you learn on a stick shift. It's like ballet. You're learning on a stick shift, and then you get to drive an automatic, which is more like maybe salsa. It's as far as dance is concerned. But
Right. That's funny. Yeah. It's just unfamiliarity is always like comes along with a little like fear, but I feel like some people are more attracted to fear than others for sure.
Well, that's true. But I also find growth. There's positive ways and negative ways to be attracted to fear, I think. But then growth is something I've been really thinking about. And I think that's the thing about growth. The initial inherent nature of growth is that it is uncomfortable. And if we're always trying to seek comfortable, it's opposite of growth.
Right.
So growth, we got to kind of like push ourselves on the edge of uncomfortable.
Totally.
But yeah, that's how I live. And I'm just enamored by you're a professional dancer. That is amazing. Like you've just accomplished some incredible things. I mean, I don't think people maybe people understand, but it's a very small number of people in the world are like professional dancers, like get paid to do it.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, we're like the NFL, but we don't get paid millions of dollars.
I know. Why is that? It's because we don't have dance stadiums.
Yeah.
We got to do some dance team. Well, you know what? They've been trying. They do that. Dance teams and like competitions
yeah. I just feel like it's not as like sports is just so embedded in like our culture and dance
we could do
is more.
Dance boxing, like people could beat the crap out of each other and be dancing.
Like, do you still dance? That's totally integrate it.
Why do we all like that? That's what we like the sports where people get injured, where people like hit each other, and then
I think it's just more like it's goes back to those gladiator days of just like wanting to be involved in this like spectator thing, which I feel like you could turn and dance into, but it's just not as
well, they have it at the Olympics. They have dancing at the Olympics. So I mean, it's definitely one of those like. There's ways to compete, but there really isn't like dancers sponsored for $20 million a year.
Right.
I don't know that's actually a thing.
Change that.
Unless you're dancing with the stars, and you're already making $20 million a year. No,
right. I mean, there's definitely like. There are ways to make money in the industry, for sure.
Well, what kind of advice would you give some people if they are bored right now about like how can maybe they could start dancing on their own? Like if they wanted to start dancing as a workout, I mean, they're probably not going to become professional. Just sorry, guys.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
like
that's
getting in shape
totally
or feeling good.
You can get so many benefits from dance, like whatever level you're at. I would say, right now there's a lot of options online. So just going online and seeing what kind of, sometimes you can just like enter a virtual dance class for free and, check it and see how comfortable you are with what level is being offered. But, you can get a lot of information online these days. Even, YouTube is great. Like people are posting dance routines on YouTube and, everyone's really into TikTok right now. I've actually never tried it. I have no idea how it works, but I know that's like a fun, like social media way to like do a little dance and like post it.
Yeah. So that's awesome. So
also, just like working, there's a lot of dance workouts that are out there as well, kind of like it's an integration of core and toning, like to fun music, and you're moving around and you're kind of like, you're enjoying the movement while working out.
So do you have dance do you have some, where can people find you and like, if they wanted to take dance classes from you virtually right now, are you doing that for them?
Yeah, I have a website. It's www.jenny, Jenny-Winton, WINTON.com. And I offer virtual one-on-ones in any of the styles like classical ballet, contemporary, and theater. And then I also, do virtual Pilates classes. I teach on several different Instagram platforms and then off of my own platform. So awesome. If anybody wants to, seek me out, that would probably be the best way to do so. on that website. So
go to your website and then they can find your
happy.
other socials from the website.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. And then my Instagram handle is my name, Jenny Winton 89. So it's pretty similar to the website, and you can message me there as well. But I would be thrilled to just like, you know, I love teaching people, and like, it's whenever I get a new student, it's just like, it's so fun to introduce them to dance and to movement and to discovering more about their body, and like making themselves feel good about their body and their skills and their connection with themselves. So that's what I'm here for.
Awesome. You have one piece of advice you'd give to anybody that's struggling right now? What would you tell them to encourage them?
Right now. One piece of advice. I mean, I would say like, really do live for the day that you're in at the moment. And there's always something to do. There's always a new skill to learn. There's always a new book to read. There's always a new dance to dance, and there's always something to do with your time. And no matter what situation you're in, financially or mentally or whatever, there's always a way out of a bad situation. So
thank you. That's amazing. Perfect way to end this.
Yes.
Thank you so much,
Dave. This is awesome. I'm really glad that we did this.
I am too.
Thank you for joining us for the Healthy and Family Show. Visit our website at HealthyAndFamily.com. That's HealthyAndFamily.com to see what all the other doctors, experts, and real moms have to say about keeping your whole family healthy. This episode has been brought to you by CompleteNutro.com, Whole Family Nutrition, and aired on the Goldstone Network. People, Planet, Future.